Alex Harper stood at the center of the vast, domed chamber, the soft hum of holographic recorders amplifying the oppressive silence. Over 100 alien eyes, some glowing, others multifaceted, were fixed on them, radiating suspicion. The words of Counselor Relgoth echoed through the hall, sharp and unyielding. Explain how a species barely 2 centuries into interstellar contact could achieve a perfect score on the Tetran cognitive aptitude test, Relgoth demanded, his pale, segmented fingers tapping on a crystalline datapad. It has never been done before. Not by the Orin, not by the Vri, and certainly not by humans. Alex swallowed hard, their heartbeat pounding like a drumline in their ears. I didn't cheat, they said, their voice steady but edged with frustration. The Tetran cognitive aptitude test was infamous across the galaxy, a brutal gauntlet of logic puzzles, predictive reasoning scenarios, and complex simulations designed to push even the brightest minds to their limits. And yet, Alex hadn't just passed it, they'd shattered every record in its centuries-long history. That was the problem. Relgoth's silver eyes narrowed, glinting under the pale, artificial light. Your score wasn't just unprecedented, it was statistically impossible. The probability of completing all segments flawlessly is less than 1 in 10 trillion. Explain yourself. Alex straightened, resisting the urge to rub the back of their neck, a nervous tic that would betray their unease. I didn't know the answers going in. I just saw the patterns. The simulations weren't that different from systems I've worked on back home. It's not cheating to use what you know. The murmurs rippling through the gallery were anything but supportive. The Academy's interspecies students and faculty, representatives of dozens of galactic civilizations, whispered to one another in hushed tones, their skepticism palpable. Humans, after all, were a relatively new addition to the galactic community, and many still viewed them as an anomaly, unpredictable, chaotic, and inconveniently clever. Dr. Mia Zhao, Earth's appointed representative to the Academy, rose from her seat at the delegation table. Her composed expression masked the simmering anger beneath. Counselor Relgoth, she said, her voice smooth but firm, this accusation is premature. Alex Harper has demonstrated exceptional cognitive flexibility, a hallmark of human evolution. What you see as impossible may simply be unfamiliar. Relgoth's mandibles clicked in irritation. Flexibility or not, the Academy operates on integrity. If this student exploited a loophole in the test, intentionally or otherwise, it undermines our standards. Another counselor, a serpentine being with scales that shimmered like oil on water, interjected. And what if this cheating is merely a human adaptation we have yet to understand? Shall we condemn them for being different? The chamber fell silent as the words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Alex's mind raced. They hadn't broken any rules, but how could they explain the unexplainable? The test had been a whirlwind of numbers, shapes, and logic, each step more intuitive than the last. To Alex, it felt less like solving problems and more like an instinct kicking in, a puzzle snapping into place. Relgoth leaned forward, his tone icy. Until this matter is resolved, Alex Harper, you are hereby suspended from all academic activities. Your case will be reviewed in a formal hearing. The decision was met with a sharp collective intake of breath. Alex opened their mouth to protest, but the words died as the council's gavel struck, signaling the end of the session. As the chamber emptied, Dr. Zhao placed a reassuring hand on Alex's shoulder. This isn't over, she said, her voice low. They're scared of what you represent. And I intend to find out why. But Alex wasn't reassured. The accusation was just the beginning. The real battle was yet to come. The Academy's halls, usually alive with the hum of alien languages and the clatter of countless species going about their day, felt hostile and uninviting. Alex Harper trudged through the corridors, aware of the stares and hushed whispers following their every step. Once, curiosity about the human student had been laced with fascination. Now, it brimmed with suspicion. The summons had arrived mere hours after the council's suspension ruling, a formal notice demanding Alex report to the Office of Academic Integrity for an investigation. Despite Dr. Zhao's assurances that this was routine, Alex felt anything but reassured. The office was stark and clinical, its walls lined with displays showcasing the Academy's proudest moments. Holograms depicted smiling alien graduates and historical breakthroughs, all overshadowed by the imposing figure of Counselor Relgoth seated at the far end of the room. "Sit," Relgoth ordered, gesturing to a cold metal chair in the center. Alex complied, their hands gripping the armrests to steady themselves. "We have initiated a neural analysis of your performance during the Tetran cognitive aptitude test," Relgoth began, his segmented fingers steepled before him. "Your brain activity was peculiar." "Peculiar how?" Alex asked, trying to keep their voice steady. Relgoth activated a holographic display, and an intricate map of Alex's neural pathways appeared, pulsing with multicolored lights. "Your brain demonstrated an extraordinary level of efficiency during the test. Entire sections lit up in ways we've never seen before, not even in the most advanced species. It's almost as if your mind bypassed the test's challenges altogether, arriving at solutions without engaging in traditional problem solving." "That doesn't mean I cheated," Alex said quickly. Relgoth's mandibles clicked softly. "Perhaps. Or perhaps your species has a predisposition to exploit systems in ways we cannot predict." Before Alex could respond, the door hissed open, and Dr. Zhao entered, her sharp gaze fixed on Relgoth. "Counselor, I must remind you that Alex is entitled to representation during this investigation. I trust you haven't overstepped your bounds." Relgoth's expression soured, but he gestured for her to proceed. Dr. Zhao took a seat beside Alex, her voice calm but firm. "What you're observing isn't evidence of cheating. It's a byproduct of human evolution. Our species developed under intense survival pressure, honing skills like adaptability and pattern recognition. What you see as an anomaly is simply how we think." Relgoth leaned back, clearly unconvinced. "And yet, no other species exhibits such unpredictable capabilities. How are we to ensure fairness in a system humans might be uniquely suited to exploit?" Dr. Zhao's jaw tightened. "If fairness means penalizing someone for being different, then your system is fundamentally flawed." Relgoth remained silent, his gaze cold. As the tension thickened, the door opened again, and an unexpected figure entered, a tall, four-armed alien with vibrant green skin. They approached Alex, their voice a low hum. "I am Krivin A.K. I've been observing your case, human. You're not the first species to face this kind of scrutiny. The Council fears what it doesn't understand." Alex exchanged a glance with Dr. Zhao, a flicker of hope igniting amidst their unease. "What do you mean?" Alex asked. Krivin A.K.'s dark eyes gleamed. "This academy isn't as impartial as it claims to be. If you want the truth, you'll have to dig deeper." Before Alex could press further, Krivin A.K. turned and strode out, leaving behind more questions than answers. Dr. Zhao stood, her voice resolute. "This isn't just about you anymore, Alex. It's about proving humanity's place in the galaxy. And we're not backing down." Alex nodded, their resolve hardening. They weren't sure where this path would lead, but one thing was clear: they wouldn't let fear or prejudice define their future. The trial chamber was a cathedral of authority, its vaulted ceiling glittering with stars captured in real time from across the galaxy. Rows of alien dignitaries filled the amphitheater, their expressions ranging from curiosity to disdain. At the center of it all, Alex Harper stood at a podium flanked by Earth's representative, Dr. Mia Zhao. Across the aisle sat Counselor Relgoth, his imposing figure exuding confidence as he prepared to present his case. Today's proceedings will determine whether the human student Alex Harper violated the integrity of this academy, Relgoth began, his voice echoing through the chamber. "The evidence speaks for itself." Alex shifted uncomfortably as a hologram flickered to life above the podium, replaying segments of their performance on the Tetran cognitive aptitude test. Complex simulations and abstract puzzles that stumped most beings unfolded effortlessly under Alex's touch. Each sequence ended with a flawless result, the display of perfection now weaponized against them. Relgoth gestured to the hologram. "This is not the behavior of a typical student. It is a statistical impossibility, a deviation so extreme that it defies explanation within known parameters. It is, in essence, cheating." Dr. Zhao rose, her calm demeanor masking the fire in her eyes. "Counselor Relgoth, your argument hinges on the assumption that anything outside your expectations must be fraudulent. But humans have always thrived by defying expectations. She turned to the assembly, her voice steady and compelling. Human evolution was forged under relentless pressure. Our species survived extinction events, unpredictable climates, and countless adversaries. The adaptability you see in Alex isn't an aberration, it's a survival mechanism refined over millennia. What you call cheating is simply a reflection of our ability to think differently. The chamber murmured, the gathered crowd visibly torn. Relgoth, however, remained unmoved. Your words are eloquent, Dr. Zhao, but they do not address the core issue, fairness. If humans possess a unique advantage, they undermine the level playing field this academy is built upon. At that moment, a figure rose from the crowd. It was Kriven A.K., the green-skinned alien who had approached Alex earlier. Their voice was firm and resonant as they addressed the assembly. I am Kriven A.K. of the Rillathai, and I speak in defense of the accused. They gestured to Alex. This is not the first time the Council has scrutinized a species for excelling beyond expectation. My people once faced similar accusations when we introduced bioluminescent thought-sharing into our learning systems. The Council claimed it gave us an unfair advantage. We were nearly expelled from the Academy before the rules were revised to accommodate our differences. The chamber fell silent as Kriven A.K. continued. This trial is not about cheating. It is about fear of the unknown, fear of change. But if this academy is to remain a beacon of intergalactic unity, it must embrace diversity, not suppress it. Relgoth's mandibles clicked in irritation, but the murmurs in the audience grew louder, shifting in tone. Dr. Zhao seized the moment. If humanity's adaptability is seen as a threat, then this institution must ask itself what it truly values, conformity or growth. Because you cannot have both. Relgoth's gaze hardened. Enough. The council will deliberate and issue its ruling in due time. The gavel struck, ending the session, but Alex could feel the tide beginning to turn. As they left the chamber, Kriven A.K. caught their gaze and offered a subtle nod. This isn't just about you, human, Kriven A.K. said quietly. It's about what the galaxy fears, and what it must learn to accept. Alex walked away with a sense of unease, but also determination. The trial wasn't over, but for the first time, they saw a glimmer of hope piercing through the darkness. The council chamber was dimly lit, the air heavy with tension as the deliberations resumed. Councillor Relgoth stood at his podium, his posture rigid as he addressed the assembly. After thorough analysis, we have uncovered the root of this so-called human ingenuity. He gestured to a holographic display that unfurled above the room, a rotating image of a human brain. Alex Harper watched from their seat, flanked by Dr. Zhao and Kriven A.K. The hologram felt like an indictment in itself, every highlighted section of neural activity a mark against them. Relgoth's segmented fingers danced over his datapad, and the brain projection zoomed in on the prefrontal cortex. Humans possess an unusual neural architecture. Their brains demonstrate a unique blend of adaptability and pattern recognition, far exceeding what is seen in most other species. This creative problem-solving is nothing less than a natural exploitation of our carefully designed systems. Dr. Zhao rose, her expression calm but her voice sharp. Councillor Relgoth, are you suggesting that humans should be penalized for their biology? For being what they are? The chamber murmured, the audience torn between skepticism and intrigue. Relgoth's mandibles twitched, a sign of his growing frustration. What I am suggesting, Representative Zhao, is that this biological advantage threatens the fairness and balance upon which this academy was founded. If humans are allowed to leverage this anomaly, what stops other species from demanding exceptions for their unique traits? Kriven A.K. stood, their towering form casting a long shadow across the room. Counselor, the academy has always adapted to the strengths of its students. My people's bioluminescent thought-sharing, the Oran's quad-lobed memory systems, the Talari's empathic networks, each of these traits once caused controversy. Yet here we are, thriving in our diversity. Relgoth's gaze hardened, but he didn't interrupt. Kriven A.K. turned to the assembly. What you call an unfair advantage is simply another example of evolution's brilliance. Humans did not cheat, they succeeded because they approached the test in a way no one else could. That is not a flaw, it is a gift. Dr. Zhao stepped forward, building on Kriven A.K.'s momentum. Counselors, you fear what humans represent: unpredictability, innovation, change. But those very traits are what make us valuable. We don't just survive challenges, we adapt to them, often in ways no one anticipates. The galaxy needs minds that think outside the constraints of tradition. The murmurs in the chamber grew louder, the counselors exchanging uncertain glances. Relgoth, however, was far from conceding. Even if we accept this argument, he said, his tone icy, how do we ensure that such unpredictability does not destabilize our systems? The Academy was founded on principles of fairness. We cannot let chaos reign. Dr. Zhao met his gaze without flinching. Fairness is not forcing everyone to conform to a single standard. It is recognizing and accommodating differences while holding to shared values. Humanity doesn't threaten your system, it challenges it to evolve. The room fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Relgotha's mandibles clicked softly. The council will take this under advisement. For now, the human student remains under suspension. As the session adjourned, Alex exhaled a breath they didn't realize they'd been holding. Krivin AK leaned down, their voice low. They're afraid, human. But fear is often the first step toward understanding. Keep pushing. Dr. Zhao nodded, her expression resolute. They're starting to see the truth, Alex. Now we need to make sure they can't ignore it. Walking out of the chamber, Alex felt the weight of their species' future pressing down on their shoulders. But for the first time, it wasn't just a burden, it was also a purpose. The council chamber buzzed with anticipation. It was the final day of deliberations, and the entire academy seemed to hold its breath. Representatives from dozens of species filled the rows, their holographic insignias glowing faintly above their seats. This wasn't just about Alex Harper anymore, it was about redefining the principles of fairness and inclusion in one of the galaxy's most revered institutions. Alex stood at the center of the chamber once again, flanked by Dr. Zhao and Krivin AK. This time, however, they didn't feel quite so alone. Among the crowd were students and faculty from other species who had come forward in support. Their expressions ranged from hopeful to defiant, a coalition of voices demanding change. Counselor Relgoth rose from his seat, his imposing form towering over the assembly. His tone was as cold as ever. We have heard the arguments. We have reviewed the evidence. But the question remains, can the Academy maintain its standards of fairness while accommodating such extreme deviations as those exhibited by humanity? Dr. Zhao didn't wait for an invitation. She stepped forward, her voice steady and resolute. Counselors, the concept of fairness has been misrepresented throughout this trial. Fairness does not mean treating every species the same, it means ensuring that each species has the opportunity to succeed according to their unique strengths. By penalizing humanity for its adaptability, you are not upholding fairness. You are suppressing potential. The chamber murmured with agreement. Even some of Relgotha's staunchest allies exchanged uncertain glances. Relgotha's mandibles clicked in frustration. Your rhetoric is compelling, Representative Zhao, but it does not address the practical implications. If we allow such deviations to go unchecked, how do we ensure balance? How do we prevent the chaos that unchecked advantage brings? Krivin AK stepped forward, their voice calm but powerful. Counselor Relgoth, balance is not achieved by forcing conformity. It is achieved by recognizing and valuing diversity. My people, the Rillathai, were once accused of destabilizing the Academy when we introduced bioluminescent thought-sharing. Now, that same ability is celebrated as a cornerstone of collaborative learning. Humanity deserves the same opportunity to contribute. The crowd murmured louder this time, a growing tide of agreement. Alex finally found their voice, stepping forward to address the assembly directly. I didn't come to this academy to prove humans are better than anyone else. I came here to learn, to grow, and to share what my species has to offer. I understand why you're afraid. Humans can be unpredictable. But unpredictability isn't the same as chaos. It's creativity. It's innovation. And it's exactly what this academy needs if it wants to keep thriving. The sincerity in Alex's words seemed to ripple through the crowd, silencing the murmurs. Even Relgoth hesitated, his cold demeanor faltering for a moment. Another counselor, a serene being from the aquatic elan species, broke the silence. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our definition of integrity. The Academy was founded on the principle of uniting the best minds in the galaxy. That unity cannot come from exclusion. Relgatha's segmented fingers tightened around his datapad, but he didn't interrupt. The Elan counselor continued. Let us not forget that every great advancement in our history came from those who dared to challenge the norm. Humanity's adaptability is not a threat, it is an opportunity. One we would be foolish to squander. The chamber erupted into applause, a rare and spontaneous display of emotion in such a formal setting. Relgath stood, his posture stiff. If this assembly insists on rewriting the rules, then so be it. But let us not forget the precedent we set today. Dr. Zhao smiled faintly. The precedent we set today is one of progress, Counselor. Not fear. The Council voted moments later. The results were decisive. The Academy would revise its standards to acknowledge and celebrate the unique strengths of all species. Alex's suspension was lifted, and their record-breaking test performance officially recognized as legitimate. As the chamber emptied, Alex felt a wave of relief and pride. Dr. Zhao placed a hand on their shoulder. You've done more than clear your name, Alex. You've opened the door for humanity, and countless others, to thrive here. Kriven AK nodded, their dark eyes gleaming. This is only the beginning. The galaxy needs voices like yours to keep it moving forward. Alex looked around the chamber, now filled with supportive faces and a sense of possibility. They had come to the Academy as an outsider, unsure of their place. But today, they had proven that humanity wasn't just a part of the galactic community, it was a force for change. As Alex walked out into the bright corridors of the Academy, the whispers and stares followed them again. But this time, they weren't whispers of suspicion. They were whispers of curiosity, respect, and maybe even admiration. For the first time, Alex felt like they truly belonged.